Governor Pat McCrory joins us on the phone this morning from Charlotte. How are you, Governor? Nice talking to you. Hello.
Right now, and then I'm going to head to Raleigh.
And I understand you. I know it's a tradition that you've always played in the golf tournament down there, and you were down there yesterday for the Pro-Am.
I played with Johnson Wagner, and I almost killed one person, which isn't bad for 18 holes. The guy moved his head just in time. I mean, I pulled a 3-wood like I've never pulled one before, and literally I yelled 4, and right when I yelled 4, the guy moved his head, just kind of gradually, didn't move his spot, and it went whizzing by his left ear.
You're not telling me you actually went left. You know, the joke is that you can never go left, you only go right.
I went hard left, and I went so left it almost went right.
Well, I appreciate
like my legislature does sometimes.
Yeah, I appreciate the time. By the way, we're hearing that the first version of the House budget may be released today. Are you getting that intel?
Yeah, I met with the Speaker and the President. Had lunch with him Thursday or Friday. I can't remember which day, and or Monday. My days are all confused here. But, I anticipate them coming out with a budget, and I hope the Senate starts moving on with our economic development NC Competes bill. But it's going to be a free-for-all during the next 2-3 weeks. So the good news is we've got a great surplus. The bad news is I've got the left who's going to want to spend all the money, and I've got the right who's going to want to probably do tax cuts everywhere. And I want to put most of the money into reserves and rainy day fund because I need a trend to go forward. And that's the thing that makes me most nervous is there's been a very little rainy day fund for the past 7 years in the state of North Carolina.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. We saw 1999, and that could happen again. There's no reason why it couldn't. There's a lot of natural disasters these days.
Yeah, and 3% is not sufficient of a rainy day fund. In fact, it's irresponsible.
Governor, you mentioned the incentives plan, and that's been front and center in the news this week since Volvo made the announcement that they have chosen South Carolina. And I know that you pushed really hard to try to get an incentives bill through the legislature, and that did not happen. What can you tell us about, number one, do you agree? John Scavarla came out last week, earlier this week maybe, and said that he felt like the legislature really was the reason why we weren't able to put anything in front of them. And obviously without any extra incentive money, you couldn't really offer Volvo anything. And a lot of people are scratching their heads about that. But moving forward, we're hearing there could be other auto manufacturers looking at North Carolina. We got to get this bill done. What do you think about where that might go?
We have to get the bill done. You're right. John was right. Now, the headlines were wrong. John didn't say that was the sole reason why we didn't get it. But if you can't present a blunt plan, you're not going to get it.
And are you optimistic after meeting with the leadership of the legislature this week that something's going to get done on that? I read your comments yesterday that you thought something could get done in the next 2 weeks.
I hope so. The Senate says they're going to start discussing it. The dilemma, I think the challenge is the Senate might want to put other things in their bill. And my goal is to have a jobs bill, not a tax cut bill. I think they should be separated because the tax cut bill impacts our budget, and that needs to be included in the budget and our revenue streams. So it's going to be a lot of negotiating between now and then. I think the Senate right now is somewhat divided on what they want to do with the money, and divided on the incentives package, and also divided on tax cuts. So I think there's division within their leadership at this point in time, which is why we have a democracy.
The Senate is divided, really?
I think so. Yeah.
I thought you'd appreciate that.
The hard humor did not come through the
phone. Governor Pat McCrory on the telephone with us. Let's talk about your plan to try to get a bond referendum on the ballot this fall to increase transportation needs and infrastructure needs in North Carolina. Where do you think that's what kind of response are you getting from the legislature on that?
Well, I'm getting great response from individual legislators, but as a group, and from the leadership, they're kind of going, well, we've got other things to do, and we need some bold leadership right now. This is when you have to prepare for future growth for the future. And I came into the governor's office to prepare and anticipate, not to react. And we're the 9th largest state in the United States of America now. We're not going to get any smaller, and we've got to prepare the infrastructure of our ports at Wilmington and Morehead City, our highways, our universities, our community colleges, our parks, our intermodal facilities, our railroads. We've got to prepare these for the next 10 to 20 years, and interest rates are not going to be any lower than they are today in the next 10 to 20 years. And now is the time to have a firm strategic plan to invest in infrastructure in the future. I'm an Eisenhower-type Republican who believes you have to invest in infrastructure, and that's part of government's roles. And that helps give a strong signal to business that we're open for business in the future. And I've got to get this across to our legislators. I'm getting great feedback when I travel the state, but inside the Beltline, frankly, there's more focus on short-term issues as opposed to long-term issues.
Governor, we're up against a hard break here. The computer is going to cut us off in about a minute, so I don't want to run out of time, but I do want to thank you for spending some time in Eastern North Carolina this weekend. It was great to be with you at Elizabeth City State, and that shows your support for our university system and for Elizabeth City State, which has been under a little bit of fire from some folks in the Senate. And we had a great day up there. We appreciate very much when you come down to Eastern North Carolina to do stuff like that.
I'll be down there many, many more times. I love going down there, and we'll continue to interact with the people, listen to them, and learn from them, and then, again, bring about bold proposals for future generations in North Carolina.
You'll be back in Raleigh today?
In Raleigh today, and then I think I'm out west, actually, this weekend. I'm going to Asheville, and then I can't tell you what beyond that, but I travel the state 2 to 3 times a week, and I hope to be down to Greenville down the road, and then my wife's going to Fort Bragg this week also.
I will say this, people can say what they want about you, but you have been active. I mean, 2.5 years of action. As you know, I used to have a friend that used to say, make mistakes doing stuff, not doing nothing. And I'll tell you, if you made any mistakes, you're doing it doing stuff. You're really trying, and you're out in the communities every week. And you have actually been, I think, the most active governor we've ever had.
Well, I appreciate it. What mistakes are you talking about, Henry?
I said make mistakes if you're going to make mistakes.
I'm teasing with you.
Well, the first one, you were late this morning, so that was a mistake. It's great talking to you.
You take care, big guy.
All right, talk to you soon.